we just helped one of our real estate investor clients make $184,000 in assignment fees using our Facebook ads and automation system. And you can see here a screenshot of all of the deals and where they're located. I've obviously blurred out the addresses, but in this video, what I want to do is provide you with an overview of the data. So I want to share with you how much they spent, what their cost per lead was, and some other important metrics. Then I'm going to break down all of the 7 deals that we acquired with Facebook ads so you can have a little bit better understanding of realistic expectations with these types of systems. Then I'm going to break down an overview of our strategy so you understand what we're doing and how we're actually doing it. And then I want to share some value in terms of how we actually solve ongoing problems that come up if you've ever tried inbound marketing, either with an agency or doing it yourself. I want to share with you the things that I've learned over the past 8 years of running these types of systems and what we're doing right now that is improving our results for our clients. So let's get straight into the data. So here you can see this is our tracking sheet that we provide and fill out daily for all of our done-for-you clients. And basically, this is how I now manage all of our clients, just based on the numbers and the feedback from the clients. So I'll break down all of that. But basically, to keep it super simple, all we have here is the amount spent. So this is obviously daily. And so this is how much the client has spent on ads in January. We can see the impressions. If you're new to Facebook ads entirely, basically if one person sees an ad 2 times, that would be 2 impressions. If one person sees your ad, that's a reach of 1. Okay, so we have our spent, impressions, and our reach. Then we have our CPM, which basically just means how much does the ad cost to show it to 1,000, to get it to 1,000 impressions. Then we have clicks. Pretty much everyone knows about clicks. Then cost per click, click-through rate, stuff like that. But really the main kind of metric here, because we use proven ads and proven templated ads, this is the main metric that I am monitoring, the cost per lead and the cost per booking. And with our other systems I'll share with you, it basically allows us to really ensure that these are quality leads. But you can see here, this is the daily lead flow. In this period of time, the ad account payment method wasn't connected, so the ads were basically off. But 85 leads in the month of January with a cost per lead of $52 per lead, and 57 out of the 85 leads booked their own appointment, either through our funnel or our AI booking bot. And so the cost per booked appointment was $78, okay? So just to kind of give you some context here, this client is doing this virtually, and that's who we help. We help virtual wholesalers that, basically are looking for distressed properties in multiple states, multiple counties, multiple markets. We want people that are not just limited geographically to one market. We want to help people that work in different states. So just as an example, this client here works in Florida, they work in Texas, and they work in a few other states. I won't say exactly where we're targeting, but basically they are running these ads, or we're running these ads for them in multiple states. And because of that, we get a really nice consistent flow, daily flow of leads, multiple leads here. You can actually see there's only one day where there was not a lead generated outside of the ads being off, or actually this second one here. But pretty much every day a lead is coming through the system, and pretty much the same thing for the appointments. Now, that can be duplicated in a local market, but your ad spend required just has to be a lot more. And so we've really found the sweet spot is working with virtual wholesalers that are tapped into multiple different markets. They get a more consistent lead flow. They still have great deal sizes. As you can see here, the lowest deal size is $17,000. Okay, so just so you can really understand this, that if somebody is working with us spending this exact amount, here on ads, $4,500 per month, basically after a year, they're going to spend about $50,000 on ads, and just one deal in 1 month can pay for the entire ad spend for the year, okay? And I know people don't necessarily just buy things based on that, but just so you can understand, if you really do have the right systems in place, you can really, make a lot from these types of systems and the right tracking. So here you can see that's the data for this particular month. Now I'm going to move into the actual deal breakdown. So I've obviously taken out the actual addresses here, but you can see the city and the state where these leads were generated and these deals actually closed. So you can see here we have $184,000 in assignment fees. And what I wanted to attach here, because we are looking for more done for you clients, if you're totally new to my channel, I'd recommend checking out all of my other case studies. I pretty much do the same thing here. I'm not going to hype you up and, sell you the dream, but we do know our system works if you have the right budget and you have the right systems in place. And so, if you want to check out our other case studies, just so you can see that, we've been doing this for quite some time, I'd recommend doing that. But part of what I want to include in this video, because like I said, we're looking for more done for you clients, is the closing duration, because this is something that, people don't quite understand. I get a lot of messages from investors and wholesalers that want to use these types of systems, or they're trying to do it themselves and they don't quite understand this metric. And I get a lot of messages from agency owners, people that sell these types of services to investors or other niches, and they don't understand this. So if you're one of those two types of people, investors, or you're an agency owner, I think this is super valuable, and this is just the truth. So one of the things I'm going to mention is that on average, it's going to take, for this particular niche, and I've seen this pretty universally across other service-based niches as well, is it's going to take you about 50 leads to close a deal. All right, you can improve that with different exit strategies, and that's the main way that I've seen conversion rates spike up, is through actual different exit strategies. You can do some things with ads and stuff like that. If you have retargeting, like you have a brand with SEO or something like that, that can also decrease that number of leads that it takes. But what I've learned after doing this for 8 years is to have just kind of a standard baseline metric, and if you outperform it, great. If you underperform it, something's off, right? And so you should just kind of be right in the middle of outperforming it or underperforming, and be at that 50 lead mark to actually close a deal. And I have people ask me all the time, well, I'm going to convert more because I'm really good at sales and whatever it is. My job as an agency owner is to provide you with realistic expectations of what the system can do independent of your skill set, okay? And so the most realistic thing I can tell you is that it's going to take about 50 of these leads to get you an actual deal. I'm going to break down how we actually lower that number with automation, but that's kind of the first thing I wanted to say, and that's also connected to another super important metric here, which is the closing duration. So whether you're an investor or maybe you're an agency owner, one of the things that people just think, because maybe people are selling them the dream, is that you run an ad on day one, and by day 30 of running ads, all your money is back in your account, and basically, you've made your profit with your ads, right? And what I want to show you is the truth, which is the average closing duration from this segment of closings, right? Because we have, if we took all the closings, this number is different, but just for this particular segment here, the average closing is 142 days, okay? So what does that mean? That basically means that you run ads on day one, and it's going to take, based on this average here, a little bit over 4 months to actually get that money in your account. Now you can see here, these two leads actually came in, right, within 50 days, right, and closed within 50 days of being generated as a lead, right? So they did recoup about $52,000 between these two deals that ended up closing. And funnily enough, like I said, if you looked at the conversion rate, right, within a 30-day period, 2 deals, right, out of 85 leads, that's 1 out of 42, right? So you can see that this number and that standard conversion rate is going to be pretty universal regardless of what you're doing, right? And so I think this is super important, because people think that they run ads and they're going to make money right away, or they don't understand that they're where this system really compounds is when these leads that have been generated close to a year ago, right, about 8 months, these leads also start turning into deals. And this is another $55,000 from leads that came 8 months ago. Then we can see these 2 leads here that came about 120 days ago, 4 months ago, and that's $77,000 right there. So yes, I can say $180,000 in 1 month, but my whole goal of this channel is to be truthful, because we want clients, we want to help people for real, and the way to do that is to show people what's real, not what it could be, right, or make it seem a certain way. And so I thought this was super important. It's valuable for us to see. We obviously want to reduce this, right, by finding more motivated sellers, but this is just a small segment of deal closing. So this is obviously skewed. If we take the hundreds of off-market deals that we've found, this number is lower. But just so you can see, that's the reality, because I had someone the other day say, is it possible that I run ads for a month or two and I don't close a deal? And I said, absolutely. It's not possible that if you and I speak and we discuss your markets, discuss your budget, that you won't get motivated sellers that you're talking to. I would never make an offer to someone if I wasn't confident that that would work. But yeah, it's 100% possible that you launch ads, you get leads, you're doing everything right, and you don't close the deal in the first month, the first 2 months, the first 3 months. That's totally a reality. As you can see here, these two deals, basically, if someone stopped, 30 days into the process, they potentially, wouldn't have generated this lead, right, and wouldn't have actually closed it. So it's definitely possible. And so what I would say as a moving average is to look at this stuff over 90 days. So you want to be able to at least run your ads for 90 days and know that it may take 90 days from inception of getting a lead to actually getting that money in your account. And so experienced investors, understand that. But I think it's useful for those that are maybe newer to ads, or like I said, an agency owner running ads for their clients and just telling them that they're going to close deals in 2 weeks and everything's just going to go great, that this is super important. And so that's kind of what I wanted to share here. And then lastly, we do have an appointment booking funnel, as you can see. So leads fill out the survey and then they book an appointment. And only one of these 6 right here actually ended up booking their own appointment. And so that's important to know for us, because booking an appointment in this segment of leads didn't really indicate any sort of higher quality or higher motivation. It did have the highest deal size, so that is something to pay attention to if that's a consistent pattern. This is only 6 deals though, right? So we can't go and make changes off of this small size of data. We want to look at least 50 deals, 100 deals, and patterns between that, versus just thinking, okay, this is going to be universal for every client, right? But that is something to note, is that 5 of the 6 deals did not end up actually booking their own appointment. And just for clarity here, the client sent me over these 6 here, and I was told by them that they had 7, so I think they did get one that just was a little bit smaller, so they didn't want to mention it, which is fine. So you guys can see kind of the bigger assignment fees there. So that's the 6. Now, let me break down our actual strategy so you can kind of understand what we're doing and what goes into making this whole thing work. So the strategy is super simple. I've told countless people that this is the strategy we use, and we've been using it. And I've used the same strategy for literally 8 years, and I have heard everything. Facebook took away the housing category, so this is not going to work. Facebook added the housing category, so this isn't going to work. Facebook took away the ability to target the homeowner, so this isn't going to work. You need to have a bunch of new ad creatives, and so if you don't, then this is not going to work. Wholesaling is going to die. I mean, tell me something about why it's not going to work, and I've heard it. And so, it's up for you to believe me, but what I'm here to tell you is that this simple strategy has worked for 8 years. And yes, there have been slight changes and iterations I've made, but the core strategy is the exact same. And so I'll walk you through how it works and basically just kind of explain it and tell you, the logic behind each step and some of the things we do as well to just make it work better. So it is simple. However, it's not necessarily easy. Like anyone can just kind of pull this off and build it and just, okay, boom, I copied your system. It's more, dynamic than that. But basically what we do is we run ads, right? And so these ads show to people that need to sell their home for cash for a variety of reasons. It could be divorce. It could be they're inherited a property. The property's going through probate, relocating, all the different reasons that people have for needing to sell, right? So once they see the ad, then they click on the ad if they're interested, right? And then here we take the lead to a survey. Now the survey and this particular funnel is literally just a headline, a subheadline, and then a survey. Like there's not testimonials, there's not like a brand, there's not all of this other stuff. It's literally like a survey page, like fill this form out. And it's also important to note that, we have a brand page that we run all of these ads to, or from, so that if you don't have a brand or you don't have anything like that, you kind of like, borrow our brand so it just looks more established and put together. If you do have a brand, then, that's fine as well. But just so you understand what goes into it, it's not like it's some complicated website and stuff like that. So we have a survey here, and this will, depending on the client and the targeting and the budget, the survey will change. So to keep it super simple, if a client is targeting, let's just say 10 states, just for the sake of the example, they're marketing in 10 states. So with something like that, the survey and the cost per lead can handle a lot of qualifying questions. So we can ask the lead their reason for selling, their time frame. We can even throw in their asking price. We can throw in the property type, ask if it's listed. We can probably even collect bedrooms, bathrooms, some of the things that aren't necessarily more valuable, but the larger the population we target, the more questions a survey can have, okay? So in an instance like that, we may have 5, 10 questions, right? Because we know that we can still drive volume of leads, but also quality of lead will not, but quality of lead will go up because of just sheer volume, right? And so the number of questions is based on, what markets you're targeting. Now, if somebody, in the sake of an example, said, I wanted to target one zip code, we wouldn't do that. But if they just said that, we would probably only collect the address, the name, the email, and the phone number, because the volume of leads in that market is much less. And so if we add on all these questions, your cost will just shoot up and you won't get any sort of consistency. So that's really the only thing that changes about this first part of the process. Hey, you're targeting 10 states, you got a decent budget, cool. We're going to add in 5, 7 questions because we should be able to maintain a good lead cost without, and still get people to fill these questions out without a lot of resistance, right? Hey, you're targeting a small area, smaller budget. We don't work with small areas or small budget, but just so you understand, how to think about this stuff. We want to make it, have less friction so we can still capture the traffic that we are generating, right? So that's all that changes here, and this is literally just a survey page. Then what happens is once they fill the survey out, they are shown a calendar page, and it's the same logic here. There's not a bunch of stuff on there. It's literally just click a day, click a time, and then the information from the survey auto-fills into the calendar, and that allows them to basically lock in a time with our client, okay? Fully transparent. I don't, none of our clients are great at tracking who shows up or even calling the leads at their specific time. Like they booked an appointment, I'm going to call them at that exact time. So those are things that, we have to kind of work with the clients on to make sure that they are on point with that. But just in general, what I would say from these systems is that I would not count on somebody booking an appointment to just be, oh, they're sitting there waiting at their phone and waiting for me to call them at this booked appointment time. That is an area where I have seen people fail, is they kind of just think, well, they booked an appointment and, I'm going to call them and they didn't answer, and so they're not serious, okay? These people are doing other things. They're talking to other investors sometimes. There's a variety of things. This niche is competitive. That's the reality of it, right? So unless you have a brand, right, SEO or something like that working for you, people know who you are, then you have to kind of show up and, make your presence known, or else people may forget, right, that you contacted them, and that's where our follow-up comes in. But I just like to be super honest with people. Like, the reason that this client is succeeding is like they just literally show up. Like, they show up, they call their leads, they talk to their leads, and they win with it. They just literally win with it. So the long-term solution for actually getting someone to book an appointment with you and showing up and waiting by the phone is to build a brand and build trust. This is what I do on my YouTube channel. Every single day I get messages, people pretty much asking to work with me. Like, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And so if they book a call with me, right, they're going to show up. They know who I am. They like me. They trust me. And so this is what, you want to create over time, is you want to establish this trust, right, with people, because that will increase your show up rate, and that will, cause people to actually like convert higher. And people will tell you, oh, well, you need automation, sending them reminders about the appointment. And yes, that stuff does help. We have all that. But the reality is, like, people want to work with people that they know, they like, and they trust. And so you want to build that over time. because that's going to be an asset that you can use for any traffic source you have, whether it's with us, whether it's generating, pay per lead, whatever it is. That's going to help you have an advantage, converting these motivated sellers. Okay. So survey, calendar, and then after they book, there's just a simple success page with just some templated testimonials from our clients that we've helped close deals with for using the system. And so we've just used the testimonials from the sellers on that page. So there's just a little bit of social proof there. All right. So that's the straight line funnel. So someone sees an ad, they click on the survey, they fill out the survey, they book an appointment, and then they, go to the success page. Now, let me kind of share with you the back end, which kind of drives a lot of the results and makes the system more efficient and predictable. So a lot, like you can see in the data here, basically 33% of the leads will fill out the survey and not book an appointment, right? And that doesn't, in this example, necessarily mean they won't be a deal, right? Because you can see only 1 of the 6 booked an appointment, right? So 33% of the appointments, the people that book appointments don't book appointments, right? So that's kind of the, the inverted reality of that metric. But out of those, leads, right, that don't book the appointment, they still can turn into deals. And so the way that we've been able to really do this is by creating conversations with the sellers. And so I know people like to say AI and make it sound like, oh, I'm using AI, but I like to keep it really simple and practical. What we do is when people fill out this survey, we send them a text message and make sure they know that we got their submission, and we're basically trying to ask them a question to get them to engage with us. If they engage, this system will start to automatically ask that seller questions that we found valuable to collect, right? That may not be on the survey, because we can still keep a lower cost on the survey, so you can still get those leads, but then for pennies, we can ask those same questions in a text message, right? Versus dropping the amount of leads that can actually, fill out the form, right? And so we send them a text, hey, you filled out this survey. I mean, we don't say that, but you filled out your information requesting a cash offer, right? And then asking them a question. They start responding. That essentially will book them into an appointment, all via the chat. So if you can see here, there are days where the percentage of appointments is greater than 100%, or it's even 100%. And sometimes, like an example is, let's say this one here. So we may have got 5 leads on the 15th, and those 5 leads basically, it looks like they all booked that day, but sometimes leads from other days, right, get followed up with, and then they book through the bot, which is why this day we only had 1 new lead, but we got 3 booked appointments, right? So those could be follow-up messages from the actual system. You can also see that here. And so that's what the AI bot does, is it acknowledges that they just submitted their information. Then if they respond, it'll start engaging with them right away and then getting them to book an appointment. And what's cool about it is it's all inside a text message, and it's all just in the chat. So they don't have to go to a link or fill out any information. They just kind of, say a time and day, and then the bot will book it into our system. Now, outside of that, right, if people don't book an appointment or they stop responding to this thing, we have automated follow-up, so text and emails that go out to these leads to get them back into the conversation. And the same logic applies. If they fill out a form on day 1, the bot sends them a message, they don't respond, then it goes to the automated follow-up, and maybe they respond on day 20. When they respond, they go back to the bot, and then the bot will push them to the appointment. So really, really simple, like almost as simple as it can get. That's what I aim to do. But those things plug a majority of the holes with why people don't succeed with ads. I had someone sign up the other day for this system, and I was asking them about how they're getting leads and what the process is, and they're like, oh yeah, well, when we get a lead, I get an email, and then I get that email, and then I forward it to my team, and then they manually input that into our system. And I'm like, it's not like the worst thing in the world, but it's simple things like that people just don't, they don't have the data, right, that someone like myself has, where I've seen literally hundreds of people do this. I've seen thousands of leads. I've seen thousands of responses. I understand how to generate these leads, how to talk to them, and how to convert them into appointments, potentially as, in the top % of anyone in the world with ads specifically, right? And so it's little things like that you don't realize, oh, well, I got this lead, 7 hours ago, and let me forward this over, and they could have filled out another form. I mean, if you think of it in that simple way, if you need something and you go to Google and type something in and you call a business and they don't answer, you can literally make a totally different decision in like 30 minutes, and you call another business and that first business calls you back, and then you're like, oh yeah, sorry, I already booked an appointment with someone. So it's stuff like that and these simple systems that allow us to actually plug a lot of these holes. And then I'll talk about another thing, which is how we solve these problems that you will experience if you're trying to do this yourself. Or hire another company to do, and maybe they're not solving. And I think that plugs a lot of the holes as well. So that's the strategy, right? That's the funnel, that's the system. And then now let me get into how we solve, what are some of these problems, and then how we solve them. So one of the biggest problems that we will see with ads is that you will get listed leads. So that just means people have a high motivation to sell, so high that they've already listed it with a real estate agent. The real estate agent cannot perform, or the property is not priced properly, whatever it is. And so they're filling out the ad and they're like, look, we just need to sell this house, right? And so that's a problem for the majority of investors, is like, well, we don't want to deal with the realtor. We don't want to deal, the whole point of this system is off-market leads, right? And so that's a problem, right? If you're running ads, is you may get listed leads, which is not your goal, right? And so the way that we fix this is basically twofold. So no matter what you do with ads, so meaning you could change the ad creative, you could change the messaging in the ad, you can say whatever you want. At the end of the day, listed leads will still submit their information. Like, I've tested it. So you could say, if your property is not listed, please, if your property is listed, please do not submit your information. People will still submit it, right? So it's not a ads problem or a marketing problem or a messaging problem. It's just humans, right? That's what humans do. They need to sell something, or they need to get out of their property, and they're at home. There's no real punishment of them filling out a form, and they're like, look, let me just throw my property in there and see what happens. It's just as simple as that. So because I know that, and I don't, think there's some way to like combat that, I kind of just embrace it, and then I make sure that we tighten our system to reflect that that's not what we want. So one of the ways that we do that is we disqualify these leads, okay? And I'll talk to you about how that works. But then I also don't trigger our pixel. So if you're new to ads or pixel and that sounds complicated, basically when you get a lead on a survey on Facebook or whatever ad platform you're running, when you get that lead, the platform that you're running the ad on basically gets a signal and it says, oh, we got a lead, right? Now, if you don't control, right, what creates an actual legitimate lead for you who knows your business and knows what's valuable, the platform will just see all the leads as equal, right? And that's not what we want. What we want is, hey, this is what makes a legitimate lead for my business. And so if something doesn't meet that criteria, I don't want you to go and just bring me a bunch more of those other leads, because those aren't real. So that's the first thing that we do, is we use the pixel, right, which is just the signal of the communication between the platform and then like running the ad and then your system, your CRM. So we just basically say, hey, Facebook, if a lead is listed, like their property is listed on the market, I'm not going to tell you about it. You're not even going to know they submitted the form. So what starts to happen is that, let's say before you would get 10 leads, right? And those 10 leads, let's just say 3 of them were listed. So Facebook would say, oh, we got 10 leads. Cool. That's all they know. Now what we do is we say, hey, Facebook, we only got 7. And they don't see those 3. So it starts to optimize for these leads that are not listed, right? Which is basically just a bad lead, and to keep it very simple. And so that's one thing that we do, and it's a problem that you'll experience if you're running it yourself or you're paying someone to do it, is you'll get people that are listed, right? That's just the nature of it, because people submit things the way they submit them. And so we fix that through not triggering the pixel, and then we also use automation to disqualify these leads from our system, and they do not show to the client. So if they get a lead that was listed, the pixel does not fire, and then the client doesn't even see the lead. We don't even get their attention or tell them it's there. It's kind of like what we do with Facebook with the client. We're like, we don't bother you or tell you there's a lead because it was listed. We're not going to send you that. So that's one thing that we fix. So you will not see listed leads come through our system unless someone fills it out incorrectly, and then you find that out on the phone. There's nothing we can do really about that within our scope, but it reduces it quite a bit, okay? Now, the other thing that can happen if you're running ads yourself or you're doing it on your own, you don't have the right training, is that leads that do not respond to you could lower your morale. So if you get like 10 leads and no one's hypothetically responding to you, then we can set this up when we do it for you so that you're only talking to the qualified leads, and these are leads that have engaged, right, by either calling us back, responding to a text or an email. And so you're basically not only responding to inbound leads, but you're responding to inbound leads that have actually engaged with us, where there's a response to a specific thread, right? And so you're just jumping in and responding to what they said, right? So this is a huge one, because if you want it this way, it's super easy for us to set it up that way, and then you won't ever even see any lead that hasn't initiated communication, back to us, right? So this is a huge one as well. It's kind of subtle, because if you're doing it on your own, what starts to happen is you just see these leads, and then you're like, man, people aren't responding, or whatever it may be, or I'm not having good conversations. And then over time, it just slowly kind of leads to people stopping or quitting, right? The other thing or problem you will face is that, even if you have a team, sometimes people, your team is not going to respond to leads. Like, you'll miss a call, it's after hours, it's on the weekend, right? It always seems to happen that way, right? Someone will call you or text you or something, and no one's in the office, no one's available to respond. So what we've built is automation that will immediately respond to those leads if you miss a call or a text, either via a voice call. So like if they call you and it's after hours, we can program it, a few different ways. But let's just keep it simple. Let's just say on Sunday, you're not available, no one in your office is working, so now is the time to do this. So if someone calls the system, then we have an AI receptionist that will basically answer the call, either qualify them if they haven't booked an appointment and try to get them booked, or if they're just asking for like support or like something, maybe they've already spoken to you and they're just asking a question, it can basically like take notes or just kind of pass the information along to you. And so this can help a lot. These are little areas where, like I said, you start having these leaks in the system if you don't have automation and systems. And so if you're doing it on your own, no matter how good it sounds, how motivated you are, you're not going to get every call. You're not going to respond, fast enough. You're going to miss leads. It's just the nature of being a human. And so we plug that hole with this. This is optional, but this is something that really works well. And this also applies for text automation. So something as simple as like if it's Sunday and a lead texts you, then our system can automatically text them back and just say, hey, I'm not available right now. Give us a few hours, or give us till the next business day, whatever it is. And now you've just shown that lead that, hey, like, we're not available, but they're at least getting something, right? And it could also go as far as to like ongoing, have a conversation. Like if they text you and you want it to actually kind of, respond to them and see what they need help with, and then pass that along to you. So when you check in the next day, that, you can just kind of see what they need help with, that can be done as well. And then outside of that, we can put in a 24/7. Both of these can be done 24/7, but we can do a 24/7 text receptionist as well. So like if you're not available to respond, at least the system will send some sort of message back and try to buy you some time. So that can help a lot as well. And then another thing that people miss out on with agencies, or just if they're doing it on their own, is the communication between you, the owner, right, of your business, and what you're wanting to accomplish, which is closing deals and, negotiating deals and closing deals and moving the deals, is like the expertise between what we can do, run the ads, provide the automation, provide the systems, and help you with, the problems that you're going to come across, and what you're dealing with day to day, and the feedback loop between that, right? So if you're just like doing your thing and we have no feedback on like the quality of the leads or the conversations you're having, good leads, bad leads, whatever, or other problems you're having around it, it's going to be hard to succeed, right? And so that's one of the problems that, we work on, is like, hey, what's going on? Because there's solutions that I see, right, as having done this for so long, that you may not even be aware exist. So it could just be like, well, I'm not getting enough appointments or something, right? And I would say, okay, let's look at the leads that haven't booked appointments, and let's see what's going on. Oh, they messaged you and you didn't respond, right? We need to plug this hole with the AI bot for, support or whatever, right? Stuff like that, that you just may not even know exist or know how to do, can literally change the whole, result of the system. You plug a few holes in, and then now you've got a more complete system. So that's basically, just some of the problems you'll run across doing it on your own, or, with another agency or whatever it may be that we've, worked on and keep working on to make better for the client. So that's some stuff to be aware of. And then I'll just kind of share quickly our offer if you're interested in Done For You. And basically what that includes is the complete setup, installation, tracking, and complete management of this 7-figure wholesaling system. And that's real, like those are real numbers, real results. I mean, in just that 4-month period, that's a client making $200,000 in assignment fees. That's just one client. So it's not that hard to help someone make $1 million if they already have some basic stuff in place. But this system has produced multiple 7 figures for clients. And so what that includes, because that sounds vague, like 7-figure wholesaling system, is proven ads. So ads that have been tested in multiple different states. I mean, we've probably tested the ads. I mean, the ads have ran in all 50 states. That's a fact. Each individual ad that we have for different states, we've probably tested in like over half of the 50 states just for like unique campaigns. But we have ads that work in really any state. And like I said, we focus on helping people that are virtually like doing it in different states, not just one little small area. But what that includes is like we'll set up, we'll install, we'll track the ads, stuff like that, right? Then it includes our proven funnel. So we know that if we drive ads to this specific funnel, what the conversion rate of the funnel will be, you know, what the quality of the lead would be. We know how to measure all of these things. And that's really the baseline for any system, is like, how do you actually measure it? If we just tell you we have ads in a funnel and stuff like that, but you don't really know the baseline of how to measure it, it's not really a true system in my opinion. So, or it's not one that I would want. So that includes proven ads, proven funnel. And then we also have, like I said, our AI booking bot. So that's prompted, which in, you know, layman's term just means it has specific instructions. So it asks specific questions, and, you know, all of those questions are designed to get a lead to engage as well as book an appointment. And so what that means is that when leads fill out our ad and they fill out our funnel, our survey on our funnel, the bot will text them. They will text the bot back, right? And when they text that bot back, it will respond via SMS, via text message, right? So if someone has an iPhone, they fill out the form, they will get a literal text, they respond, and then the bot's engaging with them. Same on Android. Okay, so that's what that means. In addition to that, we also have 50 SMS and email automation campaigns. So when leads don't respond, these are automatically, you know, in your account, and will go out to those actual leads and get them to re-engage and get them back to an appointment, right? In addition to that, this is our done for you offer. So we will set up the ads. You don't have to do anything other than just basically pay us and, you know, give us access to some of the stuff we need. But we set it all up. We manage it. Managing it basically means that we track it every single day. And, you know, we have like these 6 pillars of management that we do. And so I won't explain all of that, but basically we have a system for managing the actual ads. It's not just like setting it up and then leaving it. There's 6 kind of core processes. They're not advanced. They're very simple, but those 6 processes basically allow us to systematically manage the ads so that you understand, if you're, you know, buying this offer, what you get. Like, what does that mean, managing the ads, right? So I can explain that in more detail if you fill out the form. Then, like I said, daily tracking. So you get one of these sheets created, and so this is filled out every single day. And so, you know, that just shows that we're actually monitoring and looking at the ads. And then in addition to that, we have a notes column here. I didn't take a screenshot of the whole sheet, but that any changes that are made, budget increases, budget decreases, if you change your markets, if we change the ad copy, change the image, anything like that, that is all notated there. So we can see, oh, wait, why did the lead costs go down? Cool, we changed the image or whatever it is, right? And now we can just see it really easily. So that's what the daily tracking means. And then also when you do the done for you, that means that we can incorporate these custom disqualifying questions and automation so that you're only getting a specific type of lead. And my job, like I said, if you're doing done for you, you know, and you're working with us, is I just tell you realistically what to expect. I'm not going to like sell you something and like, oh, it's going to just work perfectly. I'll just tell you, hey, if you want to disqualify it that much, your lead cost is going to go up to this amount. Here's what I'd recommend. It's up to you, right? And just kind of tell you what it is. And then additionally, this is, you know, one of the things that I think makes a lot of difference is just that proactive support and feedback. Hey, how are you doing? How's the quality of the leads? Basic, simple stuff, but then that allows you to just say, hey, leads are good, thumbs up, cool. We look at our stuff, all right, everything's good, cool, keep going. Hey, leads aren't responding, leads aren't motivated, leads aren't this, leads aren't that. All right, we're gonna make one simple change. Let's see how that goes, let us know, right? Simple stuff like that. So if you're interested in this, you can fill out the form down below to see if you qualify. I'm going to review these personally and just, see if any of these kind of line up with this type of offer. It's not going to really be for, complete beginners, because this is an advanced system and it's not, inexpensive either. So we really just want to kind of take people from good to great, people that already have some movement, in their business, and they just literally need like a little bit of corrections to take it to the next level. So you can fill that out, see if you qualify. And there will be information on there too, because I don't, do calls. I actually don't even do calls for free. I do paid consultations, but that way you can read through and just kind of understand. I mean, this video is pretty thorough, but you're not just getting into something that you have no clue about. I'm a customer myself, right, of different products, and so I don't want to go through some call and do some long presentation. If I can read the information and see it beforehand, then I can decide on my own, and then it's more of a sign-up call than it is like, can you explain the entire thing to me, right? So I'll make it easy for you so that, because I value your time. So yeah, if you are interested in that, you can fill out the form below to see if you qualify. And if you're an agency owner that just so happened to watch this, hopefully, this gives you value on what I'm working on, problems I'm solving, and just what we're doing to get our clients success. And if you have any questions for me as an agency owner, maybe you want to work with me or something, you can message me or something like that and see if I can help you out. So that is it for this video. Wishing you continued success, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.